Banishers Ghost of New Eden is one of those games you scroll past and go, yeah, another dark action RPG, I'll add it to the list. But then you actually play it, and suddenly you care way too much about these two ghost hunters in old-time America and the absolutely terrible choices you're making with them. Hey everyone, I'm Stefan. I love diving into games, big, small, weird, you name it. But I know not everyone has hours to spare just to find out the game wasn't worth the time. That's where I come in. I play, I test, I give you a quick honest review so you know whether a game deserves your next session or your backlog. Let's jump in. Alright, quick story time. No big spoilers. In Banishers you're playing as Red and Antea. They are a couple and they're also professional ghost hunters, Banishers, heading into this rough little colonial settlement called New Eden. Think 1690s America, super religious, super superstitious, and everybody's ready to blame ghosts for literally everything that goes wrong. Very early on, things go wrong, like really wrong. Antea dies and comes back as a ghost that only Red can see. From that point on, the whole game is basically asking you one thing. If the person you love turns into a spirit, how far are you willing to go to bring them back? And who are you willing to sacrifice along the way? Most of the game is you investigating hauntings around New Eden. You're talking to villagers, poking around crime scenes, following trails, reading notes, and then you hit the big moment. You have to decide what actually happens. Do you banish the ghosts for good? Do you help them move on peacefully? Or do you say, nah, this is on the living person, and condemn them instead? These aren't simple good and evil choices. A lot of them are very messy. You'll sit there staring at the screen like, I kinda hate both options actually. And those decisions feed into the endings and your relationship with Antea. The game really wants you to feel slightly guilty at all times. The big thing Banishers nails it is the characters and the performance. And Red and Antea actually feel like a real couple. They joke, they argue, they disagree, they support each other, and you slowly pick up more about what they went through before New Eden. It's not just generic sad people in a dark world. So if you're into games like Vampire, A Plague Tale, or any other story-heavy game where you read stuff, interrogate people, and live in dialogue menus, Banishers is 100% in that lane. It really is a ghost love story first, action RPG second. Okay, let's talk about how it actually plays, because this is where things get interesting and a little janky. Combat is third-person action. You swap between Red, the guy with the sword and rifle, and Antea, your ghost partner, with all the cool spectral powers. You've got your light and heavy attacks, dodges, parries, and that rifle for big hits or finishing blows, while Antea jumps into the ghost dashes, big area of effect smashes, and other spooky stuff. On paper, it's kind of like a discount God of War. You're managing groups of enemies, swapping characters, building up meters, and cashing them in the big moves. In reality, it feels okay, not awful, not mind-blowing, just fine. A lot of people describe the combat as slightly mushy. Sometimes the timing is weird, hits don't always feel super impactful, and you're gonna fight a lot of similar enemy types over and over. It's that classic AA feel, solid idea, slightly rough execution. Where the game actually shines are the bigger fights. Optional spirit bosses that absolutely wreck you if you're not paying attention and force you to actually use your dodges, parries, and ghost abilities properly. Story-driven boss fights tied to specific cases where the emotions and the gameplay land at the same time. On PS5, visually it looks pretty good for what it is. You're running through foggy forests, graveyards, creepy cabins, half-ruined settlements, the atmosphere is thick. It's not a Horizon-level technical flex or anything, but for a AA game it does a really nice job with lighting and all the ghostly effects. Exploration is basically a bunch of semi-open areas connected by path. You roam around, pick up side cases, open chests, climb ledges, squeeze through gaps, all the usual third-person adventure stuff. But here's the thing though, this is where some people check out. There's quite a bit of slow traversal and repeated little climbing sections that can feel like padding instead of proper exploration. So if you had this squeeze through this narrow gap for the 20th time energy, you're gonna notice it. If you're the kind of player who loves checking off side quests, solving every little case, reading notes, and basically doing the cleanup for the whole map thing, you'll be pretty happy here. If you just want tight missions and set pieces after set pieces, it's probably going to feel a bit slow. The actual fun moments in Banishers usually come from finishing a long investigation and finally confronting a ghost, then getting hit with a nasty moral choice where both answers hurt. Pulling off that one clean fight where you swap between Red and Antea smoothly, parry something you definitely shouldn't have, and then nuke everything with a big ghost ability. Or watching the bigger New Eden story unfold and realizing your earlier decisions are pushing you toward a certain ending. So yeah, the combat is not going to turn action haters into fans. But if you can live with some AA rough edges in exchange for a good story and strong atmosphere, there's a lot here to enjoy. Alright, verdict time. The big question, do you play Banishers now on PS5 or does it live in your backlog jail for a while? So if you love story-driven games where choices actually sit in your brain after you turn the console off, or enjoy AA stuff like Vampire, Gridfall, A Plague Tale, a little janky but full of personality, or don't mind reading notes, chatting with villagers and spending more time solving hauntings than tinkering with crazy builds, then yeah, this is a play it type of game. Not necessarily drop everything right now, but definitely something you should make time for, not just hoard. It's the kind of game that doesn't scream at you with marketing, but month later you'll be like, oh yeah, that one really stick to me. If you're more like, I want super tight, responsive, deep combat or I'm out. Slow pacing and long dialogue scenes make me reach for my phone. I care more about huge set pieces and flashy combat than character drama and choices. Then honestly, this is a probably backlog until you're in the mood sort of game. Pick it up on sale, save it for a weekend where you just want a moody, emotional story, and you'll have a much better time than forcing it when you're craving pure action. For me, Banisher feels like a make a little space for it game. Not clear your whole schedule level, but definitely more than just another icon gathering dust on your PS5 home screen. So yeah, Banishers Ghost of New Eden is this cozy, melancholically ghost love story wrapped in slightly awkward combat and a whole lot of moral stress, in a good way mostly. If you're planning to play it, honestly, maybe bookmark this and come back after your first horrible choice so we can suffer together. Alright, thanks for hanging out, go make some moral questionable choices and I'll see you in the next one.